Welcome to this academic podcast. My name is Alejandro Mo, and on this occasion, I'll present a complete analysis of the personnel selection process, a fundamental topic within the area of human resources and leadership. The objective of this episode is to clearly and truthfully explain how a selection process works, what its key elements are, why it is so important for organizations, and what this process is like from the candidate's perspective. To do this, I will integrate theory, practical examples, and part of my own experience facing the job market after completing my studies. So without further ado, let's get started. The first topic I'll talk about is what is the selection process and why it is so important. The selection process is a structured series of steps that allows an organization to choose the most suitable candidate for a position. But it's not just about filling a vacancy. It's about ensuring that the selected person possesses the technical competencies, soft skills, values, and motivation that the company needs to grow and remain competitive. Let's think about this. A good selection process directly impacts several critical aspects of the organization. For example, productivity. A well-selected employee integrates faster and contributes with ideas and solutions. For example, imagine a tech startup that hires a developer who not only masters coding but is also collaborative and proactive. That profile will not only complete their tasks but will likely optimize processes and help their colleagues. A second point is employee turnover. A bad selection almost always ends in resignation or termination, forcing the company to reinvest time and money in a new process. A high turnover rate is a red flag about the work environment and the effectiveness of recruitment. The third point is operational costs. Rehiring and training someone new is expensive. According to various studies, it can cost between 50% and 200% of a position's annual salary. A rigorous selection process is, in reality, a savings strategy. The fourth point is work environment. A toxic person or someone who doesn't fit the team's culture can generate conflict, lower morale, and affect collaboration. To illustrate with a concrete case, a clothing store that correctly selects a salesperson with genuine customer service skills and product knowledge sees immediate increase in sales and customer satisfaction. In contrast, a bad selection can mean losing sales due to a cold or unprofessional manner and force the entire process to be repeated within weeks, generating additional costs and significant waste of time. The second topic is job interview. The interview is the most well-known stage and at the same time the most decisive. It's the moment of truth where the resume comes to life. An effective interview must be, above all, structured. This means the interviewer has a clear script. They introduce themselves, explains the process step by step, and generate an atmosphere of trust so the candidate feels comfortable and can perform at their best. For example, a good start will be, "Hello, I'm Miguel from the Human Resources team. Thank you so much for your time today. The interview will last approximately 45 minutes. First, we'll talk about your experience, then about the position, and finally, I'll give you space to ask me any questions you may have." Based on relevant questions, that's the second point. That is, questions that truly explore the candidate's experience, competencies, achievements, and past challenges. Instead of, "Are you good at working in a team?" A more relevant question will be, "Can you tell me about a project where you had to collaborate with a multidisciplinary team? What was your specific role and what challenges did you face?" Focused on competencies. This is where the goal is to find out how the candidate thinks and acts. They are asked to narrate real past situations. The famous STAR technique, which is situation, task, action, result, is key here. A classic example: "Tell me about a specific time when you had to resolve a conflict with a difficult customer. What happened? What did you do exactly? What was the outcome?" Also focused on the company. An interview is not a one-way interrogation. The interviewer must offer space for the candidate to ask questions and evaluate if they truly want to work there. This turns the process into a two-way conversation where both parties decide if there is a match. My personal experience: when I finished my degree, like many, I experienced fear and uncertainty. I was afraid of I wouldn't find a job, or that I wouldn't be enough for the demands of the job market. Therefore, I decided that my strategy will be rigorous preparation. I didn't just limit myself to sending out resumes. I thoroughly studied dozens of typical interview questions and prepare my answers, always with concrete examples. I also practice psychometric tests online to familiarize myself with their format and logic. I designed different versions of my resume, highlighting different skills according to the requirements of each vacancy. The third topic is the most common interviewer mistakes. Although it may seem that the pressure always falls on the candidate, the interviewer can also make critical mistakes that affect the quality of the final decision. For example, not preparing for the interview, arriving without having read the candidate's resume forces them to ask generic questions and misses the opportunity to delve deeper. It is also a disrespect for the other person's time and effort. Thanks to that meticulous preparation, I managed to succeed in interviews across multiple and very diverse sectors, from traditional administrative positions to roles in digital marketing, B2B sales, bilingual technical support, and even positions in insurance companies in Texas. My preparation compensated for my lack of extensive work experience, demonstrating that an effective interview is, in essence, a meeting between a constantly interrupting the candidate, not allowing them to finish their answers, cuts their thought and prevents a complete evaluation of their communication skills. Personally, I experienced interviews where the recruiter had clearly not read my profile or was unaware of the details of the vacancy, asking questions out of context. Even so, from those experiences, I learned a valuable lesson. A well prepared candidate can, with tact and professionalism, redirect the conversation towards their most relevant competencies and achievements, taking a little control of the situation. The fourth topic is psychometric tests. These are essential tools. Nowadays, psychometric tests are a standard piece of to complement the interview and obtain a more objective view of the candidate. Among the most common are intelligence or cognitive ability tests, such as Raven, progressive matrices, or the WAIS. They assess logical reasoning, abstraction ability, and problem solving under pressure. They are useful for roles requiring complex analysis. Another test is the personality test. There is no right or wrong personality. The goal is to understand the candidate's predominant traits to see if they fit the culture and team dynamics. For example, a role in aggressive sales might look for a more extroverted and competitive profile. Another test is, well, these are for specific skills. These are practical and very direct. For example, a test of numerical and accounting calculations for a finance position, a writing and grammar exercise for a communications professional, or a specific software test for a graphic designer. These tools, used ethically and as a complement, help to more accurately predict the candidate's real performance and adaptation. Finally, the last topic is the final decision. Even after interviews, the process doesn't end. HR compares candidates, analyzes evaluations, checks professional references, reviews documents, and finally selects the person who best fits the role and the organization's culture. It's not only about the most experienced candidate. Many times the selected candidate is the one who shows potential, problem solving skills, motivation to learn, a positive attitude. What can we learn from all this? The selection process is not just a procedure, it's an alignment between what the company needs and what the candidate has to offer. It's a bridge, a meeting point where both sides bring their expectations and their best qualities. And for us as professionals, preparation makes all that difference. To finish, I'd like to leave you with this thought. The selection process is not about proving you are perfect. It's about proving that you are willing to learn, to contribute, and to evolve. If you keep that in mind, every interview becomes an opportunity, whether you get the job or not. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Alejandro Mo, and I hope this reflection helps you better understand how the selection process works and how you can face it with confidence and clarity.